combining the scale and grandeur of the Sydney Olympic Games opening ceremony with the drama of the slave who dared defy the Roman Empire. For the first time ever in Australia, Ben Hur, bigger than the legend. The Stadium Spectacular, a once-in-a-lifetime special event. Direct from Europe on its world tour, only in Sydney for 2 nights. Ben Hur, bigger than the legend.
Everyone knows the saying, bigger than Ben Hur, because everything about Ben Hur is a benchmark for big. The original novel was a runaway bestseller, a revelation 100 years ago. The Charlton Heston Hollywood movie had an enormous budget for its day and won an amazing 11 Oscars. And now the Stadium Spectacular, Ben Hur, bigger than the legend, is changing the scale of live theatre. This is the biggest theatre event ever seen in Australia. And it works because it's a truly monumental story.
The story of Ben Hur began 2,000 years ago, at the time of the Roman Emperor Tiberius. Ben Hur's journey to Sydney began in France. We were looking for a story that was larger than life, a story that could not be beaten for sheer scale. We know we found it with Ben Hur. We were so excited when the capacity crowd at Stade de France in Paris agreed with us.
It also needs to be a story that is epic in nature, has a human impact and can excite stadium crowds. A real story of bravery, danger and love.
Over 5 big nights, Ben Hur became bigger than the legend, with over 300,000 people being part of this stadium-size event. And now Ben Hur is set to make its longest and most successful journey yet.
What we're doing here today is just trialling some horses that we want to use in the show, and we're just trying to select the best horses that we have available to us. I'm working with Mario Larachi and Stade de France, which is the company that produced the original show in 2006.
In France, just in 5 shows, make 298,000 people to come to see. You know, the chariot race, it's like Formula 1, you know.
10 years ago, we were here on opening night for the Olympic Games, where we had 120 horses, and the atmosphere was electric, and we're going to create the same sort of feeling in this occasion, only it's a bigger and better story.
Like the big show in the world, yes.
When I sat down to watch the DVD of the Ben Hur performance at Stade de France in Paris, it was like I was looking at ANZ Stadium. You know, the two are quite similar in scale and they share a sort of a history. Stade de France was purpose-built for the 1998 FIFA World Cup, and of course this great place for our wonderful Sydney Olympics. And as the DVD rolled, you could tell right away that Ben Hur, bigger than the legend from Paris, would be right at home here in Sydney.
The challenge was to create a live stadium spectacular that lived up to its legend, made up of slave ships, gladiators, ancient Rome, the death of Christ, and a chariot race, the pinnacle of the show. Legionnaires were the soldiers of the Emperor's army. Their voice was law, their presence was fear. The might of Rome was in their hands.
Our cast of legionnaires will enter the ANZ Stadium from there. They will circle the ground.
From the center of ANZ Stadium comes a challenge to Rome. 20th century prior to Emperor Tiberius, the Cretans built a ship that was not dependent on the wind, but on the sole physical strength of men, the oared galley. They used this powerful weapon to get rid of the woman pirate who infested the seas. Rome must have peace. At any cost, the ships must be stopped, and Ben Hur joined the battle.
Ben Hur is effectively performed in the round. The performance doesn't just play into one grandstand. What that means is there's an entire house of quality seats here at ANZ Stadium. In theatre, there's the front row, the stalls, the bleachers, and you move back. But Ben Hur can be viewed from 360 degrees. And because of the sheer grand scale of the performance, an elevated seat is probably the best seat in the house. Like everything else, the ANZ Stadium video screens are big. The high-definition LED screens are 10 metres high and 23 metres long. And there are 2 of them. They're the biggest Panasonic screens ever built in the world. To give you an idea, The ANZ Stadium screens are 50% bigger than the screens at the Beijing Olympic Stadium and a whopping 70% bigger than the original screens used here for the Sydney Olympics. Sitting in the stadium looking at these screens is like watching your widescreen at home in the comfort of your lounge. The clarity is quite amazing.
We discovered a man, Ben Hur, a prince of Judea who devoted his life to fighting for the freedom of his people. His life is packed with adventure, passion and drama, and his quest for freedom.
Ben Hur travels across the Roman Empire. Another journey takes place, a journey of faith which has endured through the centuries. Christ enters from over there, and we follow the journey of the cross which finishes here. The trumpets from the stadium will sound, and from over here, the horses and chariots will enter. The races and the battle for supremacy will happen in this area. Than the legend. Ben Hur, the Stadium Spectacular, the biggest theatrical event ever seen in Australia. On the scale of the Sydney Olympic Games opening ceremony, Ben Hur, the drama of the slave who dared defy Rome. A stadium-sized, once-in-a-lifetime special event, direct from Europe on its world tour. Ben Hur, only in Sydney, October 22 and 23, ANZ Stadium. Book at Ticketek.